Alright guys, what is up? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's safe out there. So, after my days of ranting on Mortal Kombat, which I'm going to get back to, I've read your comments, I just haven't gotten around to responding to them, but I'll definitely be getting back to that. I wanted to talk a little bit about Tekken and the closed beta that just completed. Now, I didn't actually get as much time on this as I wanted because I was working so much, so it was a bit disappointing. I actually only got to play it for maybe 2 hours maximum, so didn't get to really learn Feng on this version as much as I would have liked, and I was just kind of improvising. I was just literally just improvising with the combos and you know, trying to come up with random shit here and there. So the gameplay you're seeing on here is going to be very lackluster. You're going to be see a lot of combo drops just because I didn't go into training mode. I literally just picked up, started playing. As the video goes on, you'll see that I was getting the hang of things. I started to come up with my own combos. I think I lost maybe just one set the entire time that I was playing, which I was, you know, pretty happy about. But I have a lot of experience on Tekken 7. It was just a bit weird adjusting to Feng. Anyway, so my thoughts on the new Tekken game, or the Tekken beta that we just got. So I'll run you back in case you didn't know. But I got into the closed network test, which happened a couple of months ago, and I've been playing Tekken at a lot of the UK shows that they've had it at. So I've played Tekken 8 quite a lot, and when I started playing Tekken 8, I really didn't like it. It was kind of the reverse of Mortal Kombat, where I liked Mortal Kombat a lot, and now I've kind of turned on it. When I started playing Tekken 8, I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. This is not my Tekken. This is some bullshit. And I was completely turned off by it. I was turned off by the amount of like hit sparks, and it just looked really messy to me. Like it was all over the place. And I was saying to my boy, I was like, this is not my Tekken. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what they've done to it. As time went on, I started to find myself enjoying it a lot more. And I was using Paul initially, who I actually had more fun using than using Feng Wei. I think if they do another beta, I will probably use Paul, or maybe try out Raven. I was not as big on Feng in this one, although he is very clearly strong. I think I'm just burnt out with Feng. I've been playing him since Tekken 5. I'm kind of sick of it now. I want to try something new. But what was I saying? Lost my train of thought. It's 1 AM in the morning again. I don't know why I keep on recording videos this late. But I found a lot of like nuance in the battle system. Where I initially thought that Heat was complete garbage before, I don't feel like that anymore. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Heat, I will admit. I still think that it's a little bit weird, but I do think it's much better now. It feels like they've toned it down quite a bit from when I first played it till the second time I played it. And now this would be like the third version of Tekken 8 I'm getting. They've definitely changed it up significantly to the point where it doesn't bother me as much anymore. Certainly not anywhere near as when I played it the first time and thought that it was just way too much. Now, I do still think that on certain characters it is a bit too much. I don't think it's too much on Feng. I don't think it's too much on Paul. I do think it's too much on Claudio though. I don't know what the hell is going on there. I really do hope that they adjust that. It's honestly just ridiculous when you're fighting Claudio. It's a little bit annoying when you're fighting John as well, but it's manageable. It's really Claudio that I think is just absurd in Heat. There are a couple of other things about the game that I don't particularly like. There's a couple of new moves and a couple of old moves that have changed, and the new moves are like super oppressive. So you've got like this new punch that Brian has, and I think it might be like forward 2 or forward 1 or something like that, but he can spam that move on you like no tomorrow. It's actually crazy, and I really didn't like it. It just seemed a bit too ridiculous. I also thought that the way that they nerfed Kazuya was a bit crazy, considering how ridiculous Jin is in this game. And I would go as far as to say Jin is the best character in Tekken 8 right now. The character just covers absolutely everything. He has no weak spots as far as I can see. He has a fantastic jab, excellent range. It covers like a lot of range. Excellent pokes, excellent combo damage. Jin's combos are crazy. He's really good whiff punishers. You know, he just has everything. He's very fast. He's very easy to play now. You can launch without doing an electric wind god fist. So Jin is a monster in this game, and then you look at Kazuya, and don't get me wrong, like Kazuya he's strong. Mishimas are always going to be difficult to deal with, but it's a far cry from what Jin is. Jin is monstrous in this game, like literally monstrous. Like he is earth-shatteringly strong. People are saying he is lore accurate. I would be in agreement. If Jin is lore accurate, Kazuya's got some serious problems in the story, boy. Jin's gonna put a whole world of hurt on him, and I hope that doesn't happen, because canonically, Kazuya's my favorite character in the game. But yeah, so I do think that the heat system is much better now. I still think it's not without its problems, but it's not as much of a problem for me. The one thing I'd like to see them change universally with heat is when you activate it raw. I think it's a little bit silly that it kind of just freezes the screen, and then the person that's done it more often than not wins the exchange. I do think that that's a little bit lame. I don't think it should freeze the screen like that, because it just incentivizes people to throw it out. And then on top of that, they gave it a power crush version, which I guess I can kind of see the logic behind that. But the normal one that freezes, I would like them to take away the freeze from it. You know, Tekken's got very gimmicky characters, don't get me wrong, but the fundamentals in it, like the systems, I don't think that they should be like almost Mortal Kombat levels of gimmick. Like it was just a bit weird to me. So I would like them to take that away. That's something that I don't really appreciate about the heat system, and that's my main gripe with the heat system right now. Other than that, it's actually quite fun. I don't mind it. In terms of like the gameplay and how the game feels, backdashing still feels the same as the closed network test, and it's not great. It doesn't feel like you can Korean backdash the way you could before. Not that I was particularly good at it. I mean, I could do it sometimes, but I wasn't the most consistent person. Especially using Feng, you can use a Kempo to move around a lot. But the movement forward and sideways is really good. You know, as you can see when you're watching people play, maybe you'll see it a little bit in my gameplay videos. You can sway a way out of a lot of shit in this game. A lot. Easy on some characters, more difficult on others, but Paul, for example, you can literally like just sway past his shit. Now, in an actual game, because I've seen some pool players panicking because the videos have all come out of people just sidestepping everything. But that's in practice mode. In an actual game where you're having to guess what your opponent's going to do next, and there's like a billion different options for you and them, it's much easier to sway out of the way of somebody unless they're literally being like mega linear. So it's not that big of a deal in my opinion yet, just because I felt like you could sway out of the way of loads of people. So movement forwards and movement right and left is really, really good in the game. Maybe the best it's ever been. Might be the best it's ever been. Or at least the most fluid. I don't know if best is the word I should use, but definitely the most fluid. Combo damage, some characters it seemed more fair than others. I know they're trying to tone down how long you're in the air, which I think is good. You know, I think it's better if the game remains more neutral and you're not constantly being juggled and sent to the wall. So I'm not against that. Then the actual neutral game in Tekken 8 is a lot of fun. Just the game is very cinematic. I think it's just very cinematically done. It feels like you're in an actual like big martial arts fight. The sound effects, the way things like slam into each other, and you know the way the characters interact with each other. The game does have a lot more personality now. When you're playing it, you really do feel like you're in a fight. You know, and that goes. The music helps with that a lot. The music is a big W in this game for me right now. I mean, there's a few stages that I'm a bit like whatever, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. I can't really knock it. Now, I'm hoping that they do another Tekken beta with a few more characters. I think the more betas they do and the more feedback they take on it, it's only going to help the game. The game has gotten significantly better from when people first played it. At least from when I first played it, because I got to play quite an early build. Much earlier than what some other people got to play, just because I happened to be in the right place at the right time. But I think that the changes that Tekken 8 has undergone have been mostly positive. Like, I can't think of too many negative ones. Now, there is one thing I want to bring up that is negative about this beta and the gameplay, and that is jailing. Now, for those of you that don't know what jailing is, it's when, for example, Horang, who you can see on the screen right now, will go for a down 4 and then 4. And what that does is it does a low into a high, and the high will launch you if the low, I believe, is a counter hit or you're just not blocking properly. And historically, if you block the low, then you can duck the high. But now, for whatever reason, if he does the low, you have to block the high as well. You get gelled into it. So that's what jailing means. You get gelled into it. You can't duck the high, which you should be able to do considering the reward that he gets for actually landing that. If someone's stupid enough to throw it out, why is it that it's now gelled? Like I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. I thought that was a really, really weird change. It was also very, very obvious and prevalent with Asuzena. Asuzena, who is bloody irritating to fight, by the way. Like, I know my experience against her is going to be very limited because the game is new, but Jesus Christ, that was irritating. But she has a move where she sort of runs to you and knees you and then punches you in the face. Now, the first part of that move is a mid, and the second part is a high. Now, because this is an unfinished product, and it has changed significantly since we first saw it, I'm thinking that they're going to see that and be like, yeah, of course you can duck the high, otherwise she's just getting free running pressure. That's what I hope they're going to do anyway. That's what I hope they're going to do, because that shit's annoying and that shit's stupid. I don't want this to become a knowledge check game, you know. Tekken is better than that, and it's more than that, and it's always been more than that. So it would kind of suck to see moves that historically you had a couple of options to deal with, and they had a couple of options to do on you, but they kind of streamline it. I don't want that shit to happen to Tekken. So because of all the changes they've made, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because, you know, the game's not even out yet and it's gotten significantly better. At least it's not Mortal Kombat where they've brought out a whole game with bugs and stupid shit across the board, and then they're fixing it as they're getting feedback. Tekken's going in the other direction, and I guess that's because historically Tekken has always been on arcades, and on the arcade you get an understanding of where the game is going to go, because you watch people playing before it comes out on the console home release, and by the time it does come out on the console home release, the game has been buffed and characters have been nerfed, and, you know, there's been balance changes, and, you know, it's all hunky-dory. Unfortunately for us in the Mortal Kombat community, I say community, I don't even know if I would really count myself as part of it, but those playing Mortal Kombat, we didn't get that. We got a rushed out product, which is going to get better, and it will get better over time, don't get me wrong, but that's just a stupid way to do things. Not to say that Tekken won't get better when it comes out, but it's going to be in a more than acceptable place when it comes out. I mean, if it came out now in its current state, it would be better than Mortal Kombat, and that's not even cap. I'm being 100% honest with you. So to know that they're taking all this feedback on board, and we're going to get a better version of Tekken 8 than what we have here, because this is pretty damn good. And the most important thing for me is that even with the BS that Claudio has and Jack and Jin, the game still feels fun. And I have played this for as much as I've played MK1 actually, so it's not like I need to sit down and play it a little bit more. I've actually played this for as much as MK1, with the first closed network test, this one, and then going to different shows and getting to play it and sit down for very long periods of time and mess about with some of the characters and just go through the move lists. It is a lot of fun. Even when I'm getting my arse whooped. But, and there's BS in this game, don't get me wrong. There is 100% BS in this game. But it was still a lot of fun. And the fun to frustration ratio is definitely in the fun's corner for Tekken 8 for me. It just feels like more of a complete fighting game, even in its infancy. Yeah, even in its early stage. It still feels like if they released it in its state now, people would have a lot of fun with it. Now, obviously I don't want them to do that. I want them to give us the best Tekken possible, because fighting games take very long to come out, and we're probably not going to get another Tekken for, what, 8 years? Maybe? Oh, you can hear me yawning again, guys. I hate to stop recording videos so late. This is the only chance I get to actually record them, though, and I just sit here waffling. But yeah, I don't really have much negative to say about Tekken 8. Obviously, you know, it's still early days, and Tekken has changed a lot since Tekken 7 with all these new systems. So with the health system, I still don't know how I feel about the chip damage and the recoverable health. I think I kind of like it. I don't know which camp I sit in. I did notice that, and I didn't know this before, but white health accumulates in juggles. It doesn't happen with normal hits, as far as I can see. Apart from Hell Sweep, which is counted as a juggle, which I actually think is a good thing. Now I know Kazuya players don't like that, but Hell Sweep is such an oppressive and annoying attack, and I always see them saying, "Oh, well, you can sidestep it to the right or left." I can't remember which one it is. The problem is that in an actual match where you're looking out for 10 other things, yeah, you can sidestep it, and you can launch him, but it's still very, very powerful. You know, to be dealing with a character who can do that, and at the wall, it basically is a launcher because you wall splat, and then you get a full combo, right? And it carries you far enough to the wall where that is a likely outcome. So I'm not mad at that. I think Kazuya players are more upset of just how powerful Jin is and how many nerfs Kazuya took. Do I think that they should buff Kazuya in some areas? Maybe. Maybe they should, or maybe Kazuya players are being salty, or maybe Jin needs to take a heavy nerf. I mean, there's no way that I think it's when you go into Zen and then you press up 4, or maybe up 3, and he like does a weird guile flip kick and his wings come out. That move is like ridiculously fast. I don't know what the exact frames on it is. I don't know if it's a 13 or 14 framer, but it comes out so quickly and it actually ducks under mids. I was playing a Jin and I did down forward 1, which is one of Feng's mids, one of his best poking buttons, one of his best check buttons actually, you know, because you're in someone's face. And Jin went under it and I was flabbergasted. Like, you know when something so crazy happens that you don't even know how to readjust. Like, I was like, surely that's not supposed to happen. But evidently it did. So hopefully Jin gets adjusted, because in his current state, that could really drag the game down. Like, I'm getting serious Tekken 4 vibes from him, man. You guys remember how annoying he was to play in Tekken 4? That shit was painful on so many levels. I mean, he had an unblockable that wasn't particularly difficult to do. I know it was like a jest frame, but after a while, you know, you get that shit down. And yeah, it's just a bit much. I don't want him to turn into one of those characters. Now, he is the main character, and it is lore accurate, so I'm not saying don't be strong. Of course, let Jin be strong. And, you know, they've taken away a lot of his difficulty. Like, in Tekken 7, he was a heavily high... He was high level. Like, he was a high level character. Only people that played to the highest level could use Jin effectively, and that's why you saw that he was the least winning top tier of Tekken 7 online, because on the tier list you put Jin right at the top, right? And Jin is top 5 in Tekken 7 in my opinion. He's top 5, and if you look at the stats for online play, Jin of those top 5 is the lowest, and not just the lowest in the top tier characters, he's just pretty much the lowest winning character online of a Tekken 7. Now that's because of his difficulty. Jin is so hard to play in Tekken 7 effectively that people were losing even though he's a top tier. So what they've done in Tekken 8 is they've taken all that away, and Jin plays like, you know, anyone can play Jin now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And he's extremely powerful, extremely reliable pokes. You don't really have to engage the way you did with Jin in Tekken 7. Now, that's not to say you can turn your brain off, because this is still Tekken, and there's a lot of that shit you can't get away with. But yeah, I think overall it's a solid game. I'm happy with it. I can't complain that much. I don't have that many gripes. I'm hoping that the fight lounge is a little bit better than what we were presented with. You know, I want to be able to search for my friends and play with them without difficulties. And honestly, guys, I can't wait for this game. Now that I've played it, I think I've played it a little bit longer than MK1. I can give you my opinion on it, a proper opinion. And unless they make drastic changes that kind of throw the things that I like out the window, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. Now it all comes down to the roster for me. The roster's okay right now. Don't get me wrong, it's good. We'll see what they cook up. You know, I've seen some of the leaks, which we're not going to talk about, but I'm hoping that they can add some interesting DLC to the game. It doesn't have to be lore accurate. You know, I don't mind Jinpachi being playable in the game, even if he is technically dead. You know, it is just a game at the end of the day. It's to have fun and to make sure there's enough people that are having fun. And if that means adding in a dead guy with no context just so people can have a good time, I think you should do it. I don't think that you should take that away from people just because a character's died. Like Heihachi, can you imagine Heihachi, how he would look in Tekken 8? Missed opportunities, but at the same time, if Heihachi came back in Tekken 9, then that would be like a big deal, and it would be a massive selling point. Do I think Heihachi needs to be here to sell this game? No. So I don't think they'll actually bring him back because they're like, right, let's put him on ice. Let's wait until more eyes are on the game and we'll drop him. But, you know, that's just my thoughts, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care and peace.